that difficult coworker was in that meeting and they were challenging me, and I was cool, calm, and collected. I was perfectly relaxed. What changed? I just didn't react. This is my favorite thing that clients say to me. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how I would approach this if you deal with difficult people and if you find yourself being a little bit too reactive when you're communicating with people. All right, let's get into it. I've coached over 700 executives. I'm an executive communication coach. I've studied social dynamics for over 10 years, so I know what I'm talking about. When you transform and evolve your communication ability, your whole life is going to change. I'm not saying that to sound dramatic. This isn't clickbait. It's true. I used to be somebody who was deeply socially anxious, constantly overthinking, worried about judgment, worried what people would think about me, which is why in meetings I would stay quiet, which is why when my boss or manager would challenge me on something, I would literally freeze. I wouldn't even over-explain. I would freeze. Once I started understanding human nature and the psychology behind communication, I started to be respected. I started to speak up in meetings where normally I would have stayed quiet. I started public speaking confidently. I would meet people and hold a conversation naturally and effortlessly at social gatherings, at weddings, at networking events, all because I improved my communication skills. Now, let's get practical. That's why you're here. That's why you're on YouTube. I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to focus on in order to have this transformation yourself, which is possible. Anybody can do it, I promise you. As long as they're self-aware and willing. If you lack self-awareness and you're not willing to improve, you're not going to change. This work runs deeper than simply improve your body language. Here's a canned line for you to use next time you go into a meeting. I'm not interested in gimmicks. I'm interested in sustainable growth, sustainable transformation. Firstly, I'm going to talk to you like I would talk to a client or even a good friend. Let me ask you a question. When you're put on the spot, when you're under pressure, how do you react? Have your notebook out. Write this down. Write it down. How do I react when I'm under pressure? You can pause the video. Once you see that, my next question is why? And this requires honesty and self-awareness. Write it down. Why do I react this way? Why do I shrink? Why do I freeze? Why do I over-explain and overcompensate around these people? The reason could be a number of things. Some common ones are, I'm afraid of judgment. I'm afraid of sounding stupid. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of losing my job. I'm afraid of ruffling feathers. Look at that reason. And we're going to cut right through it. Can you, genuinely, can you be okay with that outcome? With getting rejected? With looking stupid? With upsetting somebody? Because for as long as you say no, you are a prisoner. You're a prisoner to the validation of others. What I want you to take away from this video is to develop the type of presence that doesn't rely on external validation, because for as long as you need anybody external to validate you, to make sure, yeah, you're okay, I like what you said, you're safe right now, you're a prisoner, you're powerless, you are giving your power away. That's what you've done. So how do I help clients overcome this? How are you going to overcome this? It's by relying only on your internal validation. How do you do that? By sitting down. This isn't fun. Sitting down by yourself, at home, in your office, on your couch, closing your eyes, imagining that rejection, imagining that tension, and allowing whatever discomfort you feel physically, because emotions show up physically in the body. Imagine that emotion coming up, and then you'll start feeling it once you imagine it, because the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined, which is a powerful thing, by the way. And relax into those feelings, into that discomfort. For example, if you have the fear of failure, I've gone through this myself, by the way. If you have the fear of failure, sit down and imagine what it feels like to fail. Imagine what it feels like. And feel it. You gotta feel it to heal it, baby. You gotta move through it. You can't move around it. This inner critic that we have can be transformed to become your inner coach. Big shout out to Coach Daniel Vidrashka, our head coach in Diamond Eye, our program. He taught us this, by the way. If you take your inner critic, this fear of rejection, fear of ruffling feathers, fear of failure, and you ask yourself this next question, I want you to write this down. What is this fear? It's always a fear. Trying to do for me? What's the positive intention? Could be that it's trying to hold me to a higher standard. It's trying to prevent me from failing. It's trying to hold me to excellence. All of a sudden, now your relationship with that fear, with those thoughts, with that block is completely different to what it was at the beginning of this video, which is why I want you to actually write this down. It is perfectly normal, by the way, to feel doubt, to feel overwhelm, overthinking, stress, especially if you're a high performer, and if you're watching this video, you probably are. What's not normal is letting that inner dialogue, or rather monologue, run your life. Because then you're giving power not only to other people because of the need for validation, but you're also giving power to your negative thoughts, to your ego. That's the ego. The ego wants to create stories. Will you hand away your power? Will you hand it over? Here are the keys. Here are the keys to the castle. Or, starting right now, do you commit to validating your own emotions? And by the way, that practice that I shared with you, sit down, imagine the situation, imagine the failure, the rejection, feel it, totally feel it, actually feel it without trying to change it. That practice is inner validation. You're validating your own emotions. Come on, man. Why be your own worst enemy? Why? This is where it starts. Shaka Lockman, executive presence coach. People think I teach them canned lines. Walk into a room like this. Make eye contact like this. Come on, that's going to follow when you're grounded and present energetically. That will follow. Because if you work on the external communication skills without addressing the internal, it's fake and it's going to feel exhausting. And people are going to see right through it. So focus on the inner work. Going back to what I said in the beginning, this is how you become unreactive. It's because you no longer rely on external validation. If you want help with this, by the way, you want to work with us and you want me to talk with you one-on-one like this and coach you, help you get to the next level, we are doing free 15-minute communication audits one-on-one on Zoom. It'll be either with myself or our head coach, Daniel, who's fantastic. He's brilliant. You can tap the link in my bio. Until next week. Ciao.